from Tampa Bay's #1 news station. This is Good Day Tampa Bay.
The root of all evil and the enemy of many marriages. We're talking about money, honey. And when couples fight over it, it is not funny anyway. Men and women are wired differently when it comes to finances. Women approach money emotionally, while guys are a little more practical. So who's right? And how can we keep our wallets from breaking our hearts? Financial advisor Michael Minter of Mintco Financial joins us this morning, and we're talking about men and women and how we treat money quite differently. And let's get right into it. Good morning, by the way. Let's start with saving. How are we different when it comes to saving?
Well, it really starts with how we were brought up. You know, we were a product of our environment, and if you grew up in a household that was more financially stable, we tend to then look at spending things more freely, having money available. So if we grew up in an environment that was more tight with our budget, didn't have as much finance available, we'll then find it that we are going to look at our spending habits a little bit differently. So let's start there, and then look at how women and men are different. So it's not just women are this, men are this. It's instead of how we were brought up.
Okay.
But when we look at then women, they tend to be more emotional as far as how they spend.
Because they just want something because they want it?
Well, they're probably better at purchasing things than us men, meaning when we go out, they'll see a deal, they might spend on a $2 item, they'll only spend $1, let's say.
Okay.
So, but it's not necessarily something that they need, and they'll, so they look at it a bit differently, whereas a man, he'll look at things where he'll spend $2 on a $1 item because he thinks he needs it, so we're a little bit more practical.
So regardless of how much it costs, the men may purchase it more for a need rather than, hey, I'm getting a good deal out of this one, which is what we women often do.
We tend to splurge more.
Okay. All right, let's talk about retirement now. That's an important segment too. Do we women differ from men when it comes from planning for that special day?
What we find at Mintco Financial and a lot of us advisors out there that work is women tend to be a lot better at savings. Okay, they're used to the household budgets, they're used to the day-to-day expenses, so they're really good at savings and their spending habits. Whereas men are more focused on the long term. They're thinking more about the retirement, and we tend to find that women rely on the men a little bit too much when it comes to focusing in on their retirement and saving the long term.
So I'm confused then. So women save more for retirement, but men plan for it better?
They save more on the month-to-month expenses, but men are more risk takers. So what happens is they're more focused on investments, their retirement planning, and that's why there's such a difference when you look at our overall America, why there's so much in retirement accounts that men have versus women many times.
Okay, and women are underinsured, but we really have to learn to work together and to come to an agreement because it really is a financial partnership.
Absolutely. I think, and especially in today's economic times, it's very important when you come together as a couple to work together and look at what your goals are, starting with your napkin. We talked about it last time. Let's talk about it again. Take 5 minutes, do your napkin, make sure your objectives and your goals are on the same page. Really very important to understand what each other wants out of life and then be able to work to accomplish it. So seeking out then a financial advisor.
We got a list here. It says separate accounts, joint access. Explain what that is. Is that where we start to have a financial understanding of one another?
You start with your napkin, and then what we many times will see, which is very difficult for us advisors, is to understand why individuals will have separate accounts. Why not have a household account, a single account that focuses on your day-to-day expenses, and then have a separate account that both of you can utilize freely? Why do I say that? It's very important to have transparency. Trust in a relationship is the #1 or key ingredient to success. So if you don't know how the other one is spending, or you don't have access to that account, you could be setting yourself up for a lot of financial problems down the road. So that's why we talk about the separate accounts. Also then seeking guidance from one financial advisor. You guys want to be on the same page. Having a financial advisor is not a luxury. Okay,
It's a necessity, is that what you're saying?
It's a necessity, and it doesn't matter how many zeros are after your account. You don't have to be wealthy to seek guidance. Before you get married, the two of you should find someone you're most comfortable with. talking about what your objectives, and what that financial advisor is going to do now is be your sounding board. You may have financial questions that you're unable to ask your partner, that advisor is going to help answer and ask for you, and to keep both of you then on the same page towards your objectives, your goals, and your financial wishes in life and what you want to accomplish. Very important that the two of you work together.
As an understanding couple. And trust, you say, got to have that. Without it, ooh, you got troubles in more ways than one.
And women have their strengths, men have our strengths, and when working together, there's a lot of positives that can come of it.
And get involved. Women need to get involved in the whole process, too.
We oftentimes will see that women are not involved or don't have the desire.
Right.
So we try to coach to get the women and the men on the same page and know how each other are spending and what our goals are, ultimately what we want to accomplish.
And no secrets.
No secrets. Transparency is most important.
Exactly. Mike Minter, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have a healthier life in our financial future. Russell?